honestly, beautiful.
Yeah, I love this park. Okay, so we are in Place des Vosges, and we're gonna go into a museum my patrons voted on here in a minute. But first, I thought I would ask Amber, of Museums with Amber fame, what is it that makes Place des Vosges, beyond it being clearly very beautiful, what is it that makes this place special? And what are a couple little things around that maybe people don't know they could go visit after they're done sunbathing?
Place des Vosges, I think it's the most beautiful place in Paris, if you ask me. And it's weird because it's very atypical. It doesn't look like the rest of Paris. It attests to the rise and the fall of the Marais. So it starts as, a marshy bogland. It's drained and inhabited by the Templars, the Knights Templar, and in the 17th century it really reaches its pinnacle. So we are in what used to be just by the Palais de Tournelle. And it was here that Henry II had a jousting tournament, even though his wife, Catherine de' Medici, said, no, don't do it. And Nostradamus predicted his end, Nostradamus. And he has this terrible accident, the jousting breaks and it goes in his eye and then he dies sometime later, terrible death, because Henry, very unlucky name, more of that in a moment. And she tears down the Palais de Tournelle, which was here. It leaves this open space, and then her sort of son-in-law, Henry, also unlucky, the fourth, he lays out the Place des Vosges. And his idea is it's going to be for nobles and royalty, and you might see there's two buildings which are slightly higher. You can even see the fleur de lis above that one there. That was for the king and for the queen and sort of the nobles. And it's got these perfect covered passages all around, which is great because it rains a lot in Paris, and you can keep clean and dry. And so this was sort of his vision, Henry IV's vision for Paris, but he gets assassinated, so we don't really see his Paris, we see Haussmann's Paris, but it still is very, very beautiful.
So if you wanted to come, this is one of my favorite parks just to sit in. I have a lot of memories of coming here, sitting on the grass, having a picnic. You'll see people sunbathing whenever the sun is out and it's hot out, which is we're gonna have a hot week this week. There's a couple things. There's a secret garden near here and the museum we're going to. What makes Hotel de Sully interesting?
What makes Hotel du Sully interesting is that we can explore one of the mansion houses and we get to go from the main entrance to the sort of secret garden, and it's just really beautiful. And it's shut at the moment, but there's a bookshop. So this is the Patron.
Yeah.
It deals with that. So there's a bookshop and it's got every book on every region in France, and I love it. Ulysse.
Ulysse? Should we go say hi to Ulysse?
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in Hotel de Sully, there is a cat named Ulysse, or Ulysses, who just happens to be over here sunning himself, and we're gonna go say hi.
Hi.
Cooper's not allowed in here, but Ulysses is. When we walk through that, what are the ways that you can actually get into the secret garden of Hotel de Sully?
Well, there's two entrances to the Hotel du Sully. There's Rue Saint-Antoine or from the place itself. There's just a little doorway, and it just doesn't look like anything, and you see a bit of green, but you can walk through it.
Yeah, as long as the door is open. Please don't try to kick it open.
Yeah, and then there's Ulysse to welcome you.
If you're missing a little bit of fluffy cat action, that's a good spot to get it. Okay, so from here, because I think in honor of my book coming out soon, which obligatory plug if you haven't pre-ordered it now, do it, and that's the only way to get your passport to Paris. It more than pays for itself in the discounts you get if you go to the coffee shops and bars that are in it. Some of my favorite places. But they voted on a poll that was different writers' museums. Overwhelmingly voted for the one we're going to go to. Over in the southeast corner of Place des Vosges, you'll find Maison de Victor Hugo, which is free, isn't it?
Absolutely. All the museums which are owned by the town hall of Paris, they're free. So in the Marais, you've also got the Carnavalet, which is free.
Okay, and that's one of my favorite museums. I think people think that museums in Paris aren't free because they often think of the Louvre and Musée d'Orsay, which are privately owned. But if you have a city-owned museum, then you're going to be in good shape. All right, should we go to the museum?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go. So who is Victor Hugo and why is he important to, I guess, French history, but also maybe all of us?
Victor Hugo's a writer, an activist, a politician. And he's written really iconic books, in English you call it The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but in French they call it Notre Dame de Paris because the main character is the cathedral. And he pioneers to sort of save Paris. So remember, Paris is being demolished by Napoleon III and Haussmann. And he writes this book, Notre Dame de Paris, as a sort of homage to French architecture, and particularly the Gothic style. And he changes the narrative around Gothic. And it goes from being considered less than to what he says, this is French, the French style, and we should celebrate it and we should own it. And so, he really changes that. And so he does save the cathedral. So it's been saved many times, but Notre Dame. Victor Hugo will save it. He's a politician. He writes Les Miserables. He's really interested in the plight of the poor and the working class, of the children. He's the only person to be buried directly in the Pantheon. So he's a great man. There's no town in France that doesn't have a street called Victor Hugo.
One of the reasons, besides seeing a deathbed, if you've never seen one of those before, preserved, one of the reasons that I love this museum in particular is because the Place des Vosges is like this exclusive, incredibly wealthy set of apartments that you're never going to set foot in unless you go to like a fashion week party kind of a thing. And so to be able to come in here and see what they look like, how expansive they are, the view that you get of the square outside, even if you're not a huge fan of Victor Hugo or the art that's collected or the room where they recreated how he decorated his partner's place or whatever it is a wonderful place to come just wander through. I actually didn't know that he was the only person to be buried directly in the Pantheon until today, walking through with Amber, because she's an amazing wealth of knowledge. If you come into Paris and you want to go for a wonderful museum tour, her Louvre tour is really where it's at, but she, if you haven't noticed, can walk through literally any of these buildings and give you a story to pull it all together in a way that you will not get if you walk through here by yourself. So I'll leave her email below. Be sure to hook up with her if you want to come to Paris and get a great tour for you, your family, whomever. This has been really fun. Honestly, Place des Vosges, best park in the Marais, one of the best parks in the city for sure. Let me know what you think, if it's the best or if there are better below. And in the meantime, I do have to go try a coffee shop that my patrons voted on as well. Let's see if they did as well with that as they did with this. I did not know this was already done. I don't think this is officially ready yet. I'm pretty sure it's not done until for like another week. JR, if you're unfamiliar, is a French artist who wraps things and does visual illusions, optical illusions, and he's doing a cave at Pont Neuf, and I guess it's at least underway. I thought I was gonna miss it, actually. I didn't think I was gonna be in town for that. I picked up another passenger. I'm not gonna tell you what it was, the coffee, in the end. I feel torn. They've got a really cool aesthetic, and it'd be fine. You wouldn't be like disappointed if you went there, I don't think. But also like, patrons know what it was, though. Speaking of which, thanks to Derek Filcoff and all my patrons for voting. I don't know what you voted on, but sure we'll come back around to some more coffee here soon. Museums, there are polls coming out all the time, and if you want to vote on them and send me to who knows where in Paris, whether it's with Cooper or without him, because he's not welcome everywhere, you can do so at patreon.com/ChaseSwanson. Plug. Anyways, thanks for watching. We have a new intern on board now. It's a very busy season. I'm a little stressed, if you couldn't tell. A lot is going on. That's okay. Life's great. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cooper's office hours are now open.